April 14th, 1945. A prisoner of war processing center outside Frankfurt, Germany, 9:20 in the morning. Captain James Mitchell, 32 years old, from Dayton, Ohio, was processing German prisoners. Assembly line work, thousands a day. Weapons confiscated, names recorded, rank, unit, personal belongings cataloged, standard procedure. Most of them came through the same way. Tired, dirty, relieved the war was over. They handed over weapons without argument, gave their names, moved on. Some cried, some smiled. One old Volkssturm conscript shook Mitchell's hand and said "Danke," as if being captured was a gift. That morning, they were processing about 300 Germans captured near Hanau. Mixed group, Wehrmacht regulars, some Luftwaffe ground crew, a few Waffen-SS. The SS men were easy to spot. Different uniforms, different attitude. They didn't look relieved. They looked angry. Or blank. The kind of blank that wasn't emptiness, but concealment. Then General Patton walked in. He visited processing centers regularly, walked the lines, studied faces. His visits were brief, 15 minutes, maybe 20. Patton entered through the main door, 4 stars on the helmet, ivory-handled revolvers on the belt, boots polished to a mirror finish even in a concrete warehouse that smelled like sweat and diesel fuel. He was halfway down the line when he stopped. Something had caught his eye, a glint, metal catching the overhead lights. Coming from a prisoner standing about 10 men back in the queue. Patton walked closer. SS uniform, Waffen-SS. The man was tall, mid-30s, blonde hair cropped short, a face that showed nothing, the practiced emptiness of a man trained to give away nothing. But it wasn't the face that stopped Patton. Around the German's neck, hanging over his tunic, was a chain, heavy, and hanging from it, clinking with every breath, were dog tags. American dog tags. Not 1, not 2, dozens. Patton counted, touching each tag with his finger. The German stood perfectly still. 50. 50 American dog tags strung on a chain like a necklace. Like jewelry. Like a trophy hunter's collection mounted on a wall. Patton read the last tag. Private David Murphy, Boston, Massachusetts. Catholic. Someone's son. Reduced to metal on a killer's chain. Every American in the building had stopped working, all of them staring at the necklace. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe. We tell the World War II stories where evil met justice and the dead were not forgotten. Patton stepped back, 3 feet from the German. Captain Mitchell. Yes, sir. How long has this prisoner been here? About 10 minutes, sir. And nobody noticed the necklace? Mitchell looked at his 2 corporals. Young guys, focused on weapons and paperwork. They hadn't looked at the man's neck. Sir, we didn't see it. Patton called for his intelligence officer, Lieutenant Harper, and a translator, Private Anton Weber, German-American from Milwaukee. Harper saw the necklace. His face went white. Ask him his name. Weber spoke German. The prisoner answered, flat, calm, like giving his order at a restaurant. Klaus Richter, sir. SS Hauptsturmführer. Captain rank, 12th SS Panzer Division, Hitlerjugend. Patton's eyes narrowed. The 12th SS Hitler Youth Division, one of the most fanatical units in the German military, documented atrocities in Normandy, executed Canadian prisoners, shot American POWs during the Bulge. "Ask him where he got the dog tags," Weber asked. Richter answered casually, the way a man describes a hobby. Weber's face showed disgust as he translated. "Sir, he says he collected them from battlefields, from dead American soldiers." Over the past 11 months, France, Belgium, Germany, he says each tag represents an American soldier he personally killed. The silence in the processing center was total. 50 tags. He's claiming he personally killed 50 American soldiers. "Yes, sir." "And he's wearing them as trophies?" "Yes, sir." "Tell Richter he is going to remove that necklace right now and hand it to me." Weber translated. Richter listened, then he smiled. Not nervous, amused. The smile of a man who has something someone else wants and enjoys the power of withholding it. He said no. He says the tags are his property. He earned them. He's keeping them. Every American in the building shifted. Hands moved toward weapons, not consciously, instinctively. Patton took one step closer. "Private Weber, translate exactly what I say, word for word. You are a prisoner of war. You have no rights to personal property. Everything on your body belongs to the United States Army, including that necklace." Weber translated. Richter's smile faded slightly. "Those dog tags do not belong to you. They belong to the families of the men whose names are stamped on them. Mothers waiting for news, fathers hoping their sons are still alive, wives checking the mail every day, praying they won't find a telegram. Those tags are going home, every single one, or I will have my men rip it off, and they will not be gentle. You have 5 seconds. Patton held up 5 fingers, lowered one, then another, then another. Richter didn't move. 1. Patton nodded at Mitchell. Mitchell and 2 MPs grabbed Richter. He resisted, shouted, cursed. 1 MP grabbed the chain, yanked hard. It snapped. 50 dog tags scattered across the concrete floor, the sound like coins falling, light, metallic, each tiny impact a name, a life. American soldiers scrambled to collect them, carefully, gently, picking up each tag individually, reading the names, placing them on a cleared table in rows. Patton walked to the table, looked at each one, then turned back to Richter, who was face down on the floor, hands cuffed behind his back, still cursing. "You wore these tags like a hunter wears antlers on his wall. You treated American soldiers like game animals, things to be hunted and displayed. But each of those tags represents a human being, a man with a name, a family, a life that mattered to someone, not a trophy, not a number, a person. You will answer for every single one of them." Patton turned to Harper. "Segregate this prisoner. Solitary. Full investigation. I want to know if he killed these men or collected tags from corpses. I want witnesses, evidence, a timeline. I don't care how long it takes. And these tags are not evidence. They are remains. Treat them accordingly." The investigation took 4 months, led by Major Charles Whitmore, a former prosecutor from Albany. Richter cooperated eagerly, described kills in detail, dates, locations, weapons. He was proud. The tags were his service record. Whitmore asked him one question Richter didn't expect. Did any of them say anything before they died? Richter was quiet for a long time. Some of them called for their mothers, in English. Mom or mama. I heard it many times. It is the same in every language. Whitmore closed his notebook, left the room, stood in the hallway for 5 minutes, then went back in. The cross-referencing revealed the truth. Of the 50 tags, only 12 matched soldiers killed in direct combat, legitimate acts of war. The other 38 told different stories. 7 belonged to soldiers killed during surrender. Hands up, weapons dropped, shot anyway. 11 belonged to wounded soldiers, men in field hospitals, on stretchers, protected under the Geneva Convention, shot in their beds. 9 belonged to prisoners of war, captured, in custody, executed, shot in the back of the head. 11 couldn't be definitively categorized. 38 men who were not killed in combat, 38 men who were murdered. The trial took place in April 1946. The dog tags were displayed in the courtroom, each one labeled and connected to a file. David Murphy's mother, Catherine, 61, received her son's tag on August 3, 1946, at her home on Dorchester Avenue in South Boston. For 14 months, we didn't know. The Army said David was missing. Not dead, not alive, missing. Do you know what that word does to a mother? Missing means you can still hope. Missing means maybe he'll walk through the door one day. She held the tag. When this came, the hoping stopped. That was terrible, but also a relief. At least now I know. My boy is gone. But someone found him. Someone made sure his name came home. The letter said General Patton personally ordered the tags recovered, that he stood in that building and made sure every name was recorded. Her voice broke. He didn't have to do that. He had a war to fight. But he stopped. He saw David. He saw all of them. And he brought them home. That's all a mother can ask for. Richter was found guilty on 47 counts, sentenced to death. Executed February 12, 1947, at Landsberg Prison. His last words were 7 words. I was a soldier. I did what soldiers do. No remorse, no names. Not a single name from the 50 tags he had worn like a crown. Corporal Edward Stone, one of the MPs who grabbed Richter, gave an interview in 1989. What I remember most is Patton's voice. It never rose. Not once. Like he was holding something back with every word. Like if he let himself feel what he was actually feeling, something would break. Stone paused. And what he said about the tags, that they weren't evidence, they were remains. That stuck with me, because that's exactly what they were. The last physical thing connecting those men to who they were. Their name, their number. The thing that said, I was here, I existed, I mattered. He looked at his hands. Patton saw that. He didn't see 50 pieces of metal. He saw 50 men, and he made sure they got home. That's the kind of general he was. He didn't just fight for the living, he fought for the dead too. If you found what Richter was wearing, what would you do? How would you honor the men whose names were on those tags? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more stories about World War II and the moments when evil met justice,